It's worse. Oh, wait. Is that all right?
At least they know you can.
Go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, I must be frank to state that in seeking in my own mind any justification for this conference, the most impelling reason that occurred to me is the importance of recognizing that in the death of Marilyn Monroe, she has unwittingly and unfortunately played the greatest role of her career in focusing the attention of every one of us living on the gravity of a worldwide problem that pathetically cries out for a solution. A conference of this kind, I hope, will bring to the attention of the public not only the seriousness of the problem, but equally importantly, what is now being done in Los Angeles County and other parts of the country in attempting to help those who contemplate self-destruction. It'll also show the efforts that are being made in a medical legal office to ensure the accuracy of certifying those deaths where suicide is in question, keeping in mind the emotional, social, and economic implications contingent on such certification. Now that the final toxicological report and that of the psychiatric consultants have been received and considered, it is my conclusion that the death of Marilyn Monroe was caused by a self-administered overdose of sedative drugs and that the mode of death is probable suicide. The final toxicological report reveals that the barbiturate previously reported as a lethal dose has been positively identified as Nembutal by the toxicologist. In the course of completing his routine examination, the toxicologist, Mr. Raymond Abernethy, discovered, in addition to the Nembutal present, a large dose of chloral hydrate. Following is the summary report by the psychiatrist. Following points are the most important and relevant. Symptoms of disorganization, sleep disturbance was prominent, for which she had been taking sedative drugs for many years. She was thus familiar with and experienced in the use of sedative drugs and well aware of their dangers. Recently, one of the main objectives of our psychiatric treatment had been the reduction of her intake of drugs. This has been partially successful during the last 2 months. She was reported to be following doctor's orders in her use of the drugs, and the amount of drugs found in her home at the time of her death was not unusual. Similar information collected in other cases in the past to recommend a certification for such deaths as probable suicide. Additional clues for suicide provided by the physical evidence are: 1, the high level of barbiturates and chloral hydrate in the blood, which, with other evidence from the autopsy, indicates the probable ingestion of a large amount of the drugs within a short period of time. 2, the completely empty bottle of Nembutal, the prescription for which was filled the day before the ingestion of the drugs. And 3, the locked door, which was unusual.
Whether someone was trying to telephone her on the night that...
I personally have no idea on that score.
Did the investigation give any clue to this?
One of the gentlemen here might be able to answer your question.
Dr. Farborough?
There is no way, of course, of knowing whether or not she was calling out or whether a call was coming in. In our investigation, we've come across no one who has indicated that they were attempting to make a call to her at that time. We feel that this was instead much more likely to be a repetition of the previous pattern in which she had taken overdoses and had telephoned someone to help her, or what we would call to rescue her, and that this had simply not occurred, the rescue had not occurred for this unfortunate time.
The gentleman was Miss Monroe mentally unbalanced.
As a psychiatrist, you want to answer that?
I'll answer that. She was psychiatrically disturbed. She was, I would feel that the question is improperly stated to say that she was mentally unbalanced. I'd rather put it, she was psychiatrically disturbed.
Dr. Curphey, what effect will this ruling, what legal effect will it have on the life insurance policies and estate of Miss Monroe?
I have no idea. And that is not our prime concern. You know. Beg pardon?
Any of these gentlemen analysts as well as psychiatrists?
Will you gentlemen answer for yourselves?
I am.
All right.
Is the other gentleman an analyst?
No, I am a psychologist by profession.
You're not are you an MD as well?
No, I am a PhD.
Has anybody talked to Miss Monroe's analyst?
I would like to say, at this point particularly, that we know
Gentlemen, will you please address the man to whom you addressed the question? Are you speaking to me, sir, or to Dr. Farber or Dr. Littman?
according to our information, there was no specific incident or event which was markedly different from other types of incidents which have occurred previously in Miss Monroe's life to have triggered this particular event.
Dr. Curphey, what is the nature of that chloral hydrate?
Well, it's described as a sedative. Therapeutically described as prescribed as a sedative.
Is that prescribed for her? Do these findings
Unusual for a person with a history like Marilyn Monroe's to be able to get a prescription for a drug like Nembutal in the volume she got it?
I don't think it's unusual, sir, no.
Would you think that it is worthy of action by authorities to prevent
I'm a
prescription
pathologist.
of large
I am
drugs?
not concerned with those problems. I don't think it'd be fair for me to answer that question. You probably know the answer yourself on that.
Maybe Dr. Farber
Now,
has
Mr.
a
reference
on
to
that.
her previous suicide attempt, could you tell us when, the location, and how long ago prior to her death?
Now, gentlemen, may I just make this statement? That's the old automatic question. The $64,000 question.
You raise an...
I wanted to know if there's any shadow of possibility that she might have taken the drugs in a drug state. If there's any history of this sort of thing happening.
I would like to answer that question,
Speak
but
up.
you raise a extremely complicated question in a very simple way. That there is no, at least in 1960, when I went through the medical literature on this very subject, because we were encountering this problem in consulting for Dr. Curphey back then, there was no case on the in the medical records where it could be authenticated that someone had died of barbiturate poisoning under the circumstances that you suggest. That is, that they had become so drugged that they didn't know what they were doing and they took a lethal dose.
Dr. Farber, the answer to this question must be on the public record in various cities involved. So I will ask you, according to your report here, you say that on more than one occasion in the past, when disappointed and depressed, she had made a suicide attempt using sedative drugs. Where, how many times, sir?
May I refer again to my previous statement? I have no comment on the source or the details of this information.
Dr. Farber, can you tell us the indication that she was addicted to sedatives or barbiturates?
Gee, turn it the other way. Turn the light on there.
Their definition of what you call addicted. Among addicts, she was not an addict.
Had the use been habitual and had she some dependence on sedatives and